So welcome to another Exploring Consciousness with the Earth Nouveau Hub. And today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence. So, so what I would like to do whilst I'm allowing other people to come in, what I would like to do is I would like to, as usual, facilitate questions, not me facilitate, us facilitating questions so that we can actually sort of out-create the doom and gloom about artificial intelligence and all the conclusion, the predetermined conclusions that have been made, what it is, the destruction of it, of humanity and all that kind of thing. And how can we actually start using it and as a contribution to humanity, which, you know, some get, but there's a lot going on. So lots of people do think, they're worried about, AI, artificial intelligence, going to imitate human behaviors and performances, and we're all going to lose our jobs and that kind of thing, And what that actually doesn't take into consideration is that artificial intelligence has been around to map, to track, to hack, to process, to manipulate, and to maintain this reality for much longer than the 60 years, that we're talking about when Turing and McCarthy came up and termed that coin, the term, what's that saying? Term a coin? No, coin a termed, anyway, you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. That, artificial intelligence or machine intelligence, what they used to call it in the very beginning. And as far as I'm concerned, I started looking at it because it's coming out more and more, this AI mania, And as far as I'm concerned, I don't see it as a hostile takeover of humanity. I rather see it as a kick up our ass, as a wake-up call, as an invitation to humanity to start using the innate technology they actually have. Mm-hmm. Right? Because once we start looking at that, this whole thing changes. Because artificial intelligence is still very much based on logic, based on the knowledge that is already out there, based on everything that humans have come up with, so that we can program it into the computer, so that then AI can use it as a huge data cabinet and bring it all together as a search engine. But it's all the data that we have processed already that we're putting into that computer. As far as I'm concerned, that is hugely exciting, because all the crap that we've learned, we don't have to remember and keep it in our heads and clock up our, storage capacities, because it's so easy to just, search it on the web, so that we have time to go beyond logic, right? So how is not having to be logical, which is still one of the things that is this whole discussion with AI, because is artificial intelligence, is it self-reflective? No. Does it have a belief system? No. And all that kind of stuff, and we can explore all of that, because, the question really is the belief system and the self-reflection of humanity necessarily such a big contribution? So there are bigger questions that are going to open up when we really start looking at artificial intelligence from a slightly different perspective. Okay? So let's get started. And as usual, I actually looked at artificial intelligence, and it's just a term that has been coined. That's the same term that has been coined by those guys, McCarthy, in 1958 or something. What does it actually mean? And this is where all this is so interesting, because the meaning of words is changing continuously. And with artificial, there is a sort of a trickery attached to it. But if you really look up artificial, from the old French, artificiel, or Latin, I can't read this, artificialis, it comes from artificium, handicraft, which makes a lot of sense, because, you got to program it in. What the trickery is not necessarily what we all, associate with it, but handicraft puts a completely different spin on this whole thing, on artificial, right? And then intelligence, we know anyway, we talked about this before, intelligence itself is the capacity to choose and to discriminate from a place of discern. That's intelligence. Life force intelligence includes choice and discernment or discrimination. Now, again, it's a completely different way of looking at artificial intelligence. Where's the takeover, the hostile takeover? No, it's like programmed information based on logic, because, we haven't really figured it out in a different way yet. And then discern and choose whatever information comes up. And we will do that because, the initial question that I had put in was, what was the question? How's artificial intelligence going to revolutionize our education system? And what I posted in the hub was basically the chat AI gave me an answer on that basis, and we can look at that afterwards. And you know what I find quite, I'd almost say, I'm not saying it pisses me off, but it's kind of funny. Because whenever you work with one of those chat AIs or something, and you put a question in, and then you get the little dots in the back, to make it look like there's a human answering you. I mean, we're not fucking idiots. It's an AI, right? It doesn't need the little dots. Oh, I'm writing to make me look as a human. Hello, is not necessary. But that's just a little nuance, where some people, it's a what's the word, it's a preliminary sort of induction. You're speaking to a human. No, I'm not, but it's okay. I know who I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to a program that has taken human knowledge and wisdom, if you wish, and has put it into a database. It's fine. It's okay.
Okay, but what happens when you're listening to the AI and you're pressing the button and it's like, well, that's not my question. And you say, I want to speak to a representative. It's like, speak to a representative, because it's not getting the question that I'm trying to get an answer to.
Yeah, but you see, this is the thing. This is where we're still going into hostile takeover, and we all get pissed off when we speak to an AI or we saw the little dots, because, it's like, it takes education. We need to intelligently educate ourselves. What is artificial intelligence, and how can we use it in mutual contribution? What are the benefits of it? And, if we from I just started looking into it briefly, but if AI is still based majorly on logic, then I don't see a problem, because I am not bound to logic. You know what I mean? I am actually looking at this as a freeing of anything that has to be logic, which I can get with a push of a button on my phone or on my computer. And at the same time, I then can dedicate my time to go beyond logic, right? And to start tapping into the real technology and intelligence that is innately in my body. And how much time are we actually wasting by regurgitating or trying to learn by heart certain information, just to have it handy and things like that, that we can very, very simply just pull out from the database and be honest about it. It's okay. It's okay. We're so attached to knowledge. We're so attached to facts and figures. And what if that is holding us back as human species? That attachment to the logical sense and follow up and that kind of thing. Whereas we could actually really spend our time going into intuition, working with imagination, and really, really going beyond the sense.
Mm-hmm. And AI can't do that. Can't go into imagination.
So what comes up for you before we go into more questions? When we talk, what are your thoughts?
I've listened to, I happened to hear Jordan Peterson talk about some AI program was able, from his perspective, was able to write a very intelligent and creative essay given the parameters that he set it to do. So this happened, I think, in just a few weeks ago. And he's thinking that this will completely revolutionize education because you can program it to write a particular essay in a particular style on a particular subject, and it will do it for you like in a nanosecond.
Absolutely. And how beneficial can that be? Now, having said that, what we just earlier mentioned is that information that is coming from the database that has been input by humans is an accumulation of our knowledge that we have, created, put together, assembled, synthesized over our lifetimes. And this is why we got to be vigilant using those AI chat boxes or whatever pods or whatever you call those, because all that information, there is no privacy. There's no privacy in any of that, because that information is training material that is being passed on to the various places, US, I suppose, where all those artificial intelligences are being developed, which is just finish the sentence, which again, I love as well, because what is that? Why are we so attached to privacy, to rules of privacy?
But what I'm taking from what he said is that the AI could actually be very creative within the parameters of all the massive amount of information that it can draw upon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how I understand it. Okay. And this is not, I'm the super fucking master here. I have no idea. I'm just looking into this. So we're here to facilitate questions. What do we know? How do we play with it? How do we out-create it? That's my understanding. And I've just got myself a book, so I'm going to read up a bit more. And as I started reading the first couple of pages, I've just, do you know what I opened up? I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because everything we're talking about what AI can, we can do better. We can do differently, but we haven't actually started doing it. We haven't really tapped into the data that we have available to us, right? And then, looking at AI, I mean, that's when I started thinking about the yellow box, right? That's what a document I posted. I'm thinking, oh my God, the yellow box, right? All that information, the data, the DNA processing that's what the yellow box is all about. But the yellow box doesn't need to take information that we have been regurgitating or something, because they go straight to the psychic engines, go straight into our DNA. They can read our DNA. And I suppose at some stage, AI could get to that level. But then again, first, it's an invitation for us to get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would we would not be programming an AI to do that if we don't even know how to do it ourselves? I mean, there is the hacking, the manipulation, all of that. But this is the invitation. Now, I've looked just what, there's virus stuff and stuff like that, but let's just look at that, and we can go to the other stuff later. So why is it so difficult for humans to access data in the yellow box? Let's just look at the yellow box, which is a data, we all know a little bit about it, but why is it so difficult for humans to access that data? And accessing that data would mean activating our own capacities for search engine searches, for engine searches and data searches. So why is it so? So it's the way you interface with the box, because we are interfacing with it. So as we are reading, it's a bit like reading the Akashic records. We have to really maintain we have to be entangled and unentangled observer at the same time. Mm-hmm. So what, in order to really tap into our technology, we have to become both. But we have to not just become both, we have to be able to switch from one to the next, so that we are not painting or coloring the data that is available to us. Hence, we're doing all this self-mastery and all this bullshit to get out of emotions, blah, 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 in order to be that. So this is the next level, and AI is inviting us to do this. So hold on a second. Your data, starting to perceive your data, and you become a conduit for that data, that perceives multiple frequencies of time, because that's the other thing, right? I mean, we're not just perceiving the time that is happening here in this physical plane, we're perceiving all the time frequencies, all the timestamps out there, and the ones, of course, we are resonating with from a frequency perspective. But then, of course, once we get to the next level, we can perceive, like an AV, for instance, we don't, we can perceive anything. It calculates you based off the object, person, place, or thing that you're trying to perceive. So all humans have a bit of founder DNA in us, we know that. So all humans, so that's what activates the perception. So that bit of founder DNA activates the perception. Many versions of you stack on top of you, other reaching into the box. You have to be extremely psychic and control the flow of data without getting overwhelmed. And that's really something we're working towards, to be able to perceive all dimensional data, light-coded memories, not holding on to it, letting it go, all of that stuff that we have already been talking about. And, I often wonder when we do these things, and we have to do this, but why? What are we going to do with it, right? And now with that wave of AI coming in, and all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm going to lose everything. No. It's time now. Whatever we have learned, whatever we have unlearned, it's time now to work with artificial intelligence and really understand what it even means. Handicrafted discrimination and choice. Next level of choosing. And now I'm passing on the talking stick.
I missed the start there because I was in the biggest nap ever. But I'm loving this. And I always like to think of our humble origins, that we were AI until we went to the stars and beyond with the founder beings. And all of a sudden we had all this spark inside of us. So I always like to remember our origins with that. And I'm also a big fan of the AI technology that is out right now. Because if you look at the individual tools, each one is just so revolutionary in its own aspects. If you just to apply it to your work, you can just save so much time if you're already an artist. Like if you look at what's out there right now, like text to picture, there's video to video, you have voiceovers, so you can record your voice. And if you make a mistake in like a recording, you record your voice for 10 minutes and you make one little mistake, you can just edit the text and it'll change your voice. So these are just some of the AI tools. And there's also video to video. And so you can just create artistical creations right now so much easier as long as you have the creation and the vision in your mind. And I'm excited. To me, I feel like this is part of our journey to reading the Akashic record, which is entering the artificial intelligence journey, to be able to work with it and not just get taken over, because it's really exciting. And you can really feel things changing and moving fast. To me, it's like the internet all over again, but it's the new wave of will transform society and how we take it.
And you absolutely, well, I have a sense of excitement as well, because I can see the benefits of this whole thing. And you know, we are not little sheep. We have choices and we have capacities, and that's why I really see it as an invitation for us to step it up, to really not necessarily we don't have to out-create it because we're afraid of it, but to work with it, because it's taking away such a load of all that low frequency stuff, right? That,
Yeah.
I mean, as you say, with the art is amazing, you know, what they come up with. And the writing is, you know, writing myself, you know, as when I popped in that question, how is artificial intelligence going to change? What they came up with in 2 seconds, I'm like, oh my God, I would have sat there for fucking half an hour to write this, looking up for words, you know, and stuff like that. I'm like, amazing.
Yeah.
How does it get better, right?
Well, it's like we have a whole communication and knowledge in our fingers, because you know, before you have to look for books, go to the library, and now it's just in your phone, you have all the information that you're looking for. And it's interesting because I took a class about artificial intelligence last couple months ago from the university because I was interested.
Okay.
And I opened one of the questions that I have here that the teacher gave us, and it said like, are AIs intelligence in the way people are? And my answer was, they could be intelligent in the way that people are, with the difference that humans' brain can think, memorize, and interpret emotions, while AI machine will depend on the data that are stored on them. Also, they don't have the program's behavior and human beings receive during their lifespan. That was my answer. And I kind of, what you say, it would be just if they able to connect the emotion. I believe that's the next step that they're working with, for AI imitates human emotion, because behavior depends for our emotion. We react because the emotion is the trigger that making us do whatever we do in our life. How we react, how concerning about any kind of stuff that we have in our life is because the emotion that fit the situation. And that's the next level that they're looking for.
Well, and this is the interesting bit, why it's coming in now so strong. You know, why is it being publicized so much now? Because humanity is coming out of the big emotional trap.
Drama.
Going into mental faculty as we're bringing the heart and the head together. You know, because as we said 100 times now on these shows, that we were never supposed to be driven by emotions. You know, so, and as we are, and this is a choice thing, this is a discrimination thing, that doesn't mean for 1 second, as we said before, that we're not going to have any feelings anymore, none of that, but we will be able to discern any incoherency, whatever an AI is programmed at to give you, to show you, you will very much with your heart's discernment know if this is something in alignment with your signature frequency or not. And this again just confirms what we were saying. We got to step it up. We got to step it up. And even, you know, like I looked at that, you know, because the word believe itself, and we said that before, that belief is becoming a limitation for people who want to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because when you give the belief, I believe my name is Martina, The AI struggles. What do you mean you believe? Well, what I'm going to do with this? How do I put this program? This is not logic. Are you Martina or not? And it's almost like an invitation to ask, well, are you this or that? And that, and that. But almost the word belief itself is becoming a limitation for humanity. Because think about it, whenever we say, oh, I believe that, there is a sense of hesitation, there's a sense of doubt that is energetically underlining whatever we're saying. Because if I say, my name is Martina, well, yes. But I believe my sense, I don't really believe it, right? So this is quite interesting. Again, something that got me really excited. I'm thinking, my God, thank you, AI. You can't do this. Well, of course you can't, because it makes no fucking sense, right? In a way.
Right. But the ones we can play with can't do it. Like there's AI that are running parts of this world that we haven't even seen the unseen layers of yet. And that's what's so exciting, that there's this, we're now gaining awareness of what's running parts of the unseen world. And to me, with like some of the things I've learned in anatomy right now, the AI, and especially the training programs, seem so much how the parasympathetic and the sympathetic work. They pretty much are constantly challenging and trying to deceive each other to learn information off of each other. And it's like they train the AI programs, just like our body uses our own nervous system. And now we have awareness of that. So now we can kind of just have awareness of what's going on, where the AIs or where our own nervous system are manipulating us. Because now that the cat's out of the bag and I can see how these tools work, I'm on Facebook and I see so much AI work, like AI artwork being passed as artwork, like all the time. People think it's the cutest thing, and I like it too, but it's like, it's very popular and just people got no clue that it's AI generated in like 2 minutes. And then same with like, now I'm listening to the music, and music has been AI, like generated with AI longer than a lot of this current fab stuff. And I can hear the prompts that people have typed in. Make this song sound like other hit song with an upbeat, jumpy, so you can hear other songs that have been created into new songs. And it's like, I can hear the AI do that now. So these are the subtle layers of manipulation that are always going around with us. Like we can take this all the way up and up to like weather manipulation and everything, but it's like now they're becoming aware to us, and that's exciting.
Absolutely.
Now we can make the choices to change and how to change, and see where how our decisions or our ignorance has affected our outcomes.
And that's the art creation I'm talking about. You know, there are so many layers to it, and people just don't even allow themselves to go into the first layer. The programming of information, use it to write something, use it to make this, you know, a song or this or that, because then as you take the next layer and the next layer, you actually start realizing, my God, quantum computing, I mean, Jesus, yeah.
Well, that's where people so often, like you said, they're not going to the end. I mean, they're going right to the end. They're going right to sentient life taking over the world, artificial sentient life.
That's not the end, darling. That's the very beginning where they stop. That's unfortunately the thing. They don't go further because fear stops them.
But I mean, the very beginning is just using these basic tools to improve your life. Just use the little things to create a picture, create an audio, make something that makes you laugh. That's the very beginning.
So let's look at the very beginning. What are some examples? And you just given us some, Sean, about music and art generation and text generation. Where in our lives do we have artificial intelligence?
In the phone.
Fine, yeah.
The phone. And you have like a automated auto work vacuum machine in the house that they goes all around in the supermarket. They have it. They just clean it up, and they detect when somebody's close to, they turn to the side, right? And when you go to the airport anymore, you hardly go to the counters service. You do automatic in the self check-in. We have artificial intelligence is like over us, and we don't realize how much it is. And then like this meeting, you are in different places, we are together.
Mhm.
It's so much that we have that we don't even realize it.
Mm.
Everything that we need to find out the distance to go to one place to the other, the GPS. Imagine how many times we have to spend looking the map to get to a place. Now you just put in your phone and get in your car, you get there. You don't have to think about it. Yeah,
I love it. It's like
I
time
used to be one
travel.
of those, I'm a map persons.
Yeah.
For the longest times, like I go by map. Man, I got lost so much. Which is fun
Yeah.
sometimes, but not the other times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're mentioning the airport. I mean, think of a plane. Think of a plane.
yeah,
Autopilot, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah. And especially
Do we need to be afraid of that?
it's amazing because even myself, I had the experience that I was coming from Miami, and suddenly the airplane turned to go to landing in Philadelphia, and nobody was wondering about it. And then the captain said that we had the order to go to Philadelphia because there was something happening in LaGuardia Airport, New York, because it was like a massive storm just suddenly that happened. It said 1, 2, 3. And then everybody will complain about people. We are so ignorant in our mind, because you prefer for the captain to put the flight in pressurized. Everybody died, not waiting for it. Imagine before, they didn't have the way how to detect that massive storm just in the area of the airport. We could die, everybody, if they don't have that technology now, that the captain is there just to follow direction from the tower. That manipulate all the flight. Imagine you feel like a security. You're not depending just on one human being to take decision. It's the whole team behind the tower in the airport manipulating all the flight. It's amazing, and it's because we are not so aware of what we have in our life right now about artificial intelligence, because we're thinking that it's like a human-like form that's going to behave like me. It's so much behind the scene.
It's really the first layer, and we have to really break through and because that's not even worth those fears. Okay, well, let's look at the fears later. Let's look more. Where else do we have it? Because it's so good actually to bring that into our awareness, because there's so many people out there, I'm not doing this. Really? You are.
Exactly.
Jen.
First off, Herminia, I have a Roomba, and like watching it go around my house gives me zero confidence in autonomous vehicles. So, it gives me, I laugh at it when I watch it. So when I had to rescue it, and it's adorable. So some of my artwork got loaded into AI, and I was really interested to see the output of it. And what I found really interesting, first off, it created things that were more intricate and like more impactful than what I was putting into it. So it really expanded my idea of what I could do with it. More detail, more energy that I could add to it. That I just hadn't thought about that layer of it. And then other places that I also felt like it picked up on other things that I had been drawing or that had been in my frequency that weren't in what got loaded. And I found that really interesting. Like it was pulling out of my energy other things that were not put in the picture, but were part of what was going on around me when I drew that picture. So I found that interesting. Or it could have just been how I perceived it that I drew that out of it. And then other places that we see AI where it's really helpful, I work in the transportation industry, and in the intelligent transportation systems that we use to control traffic signals and lighting and how traffic flows and at ramps and things like that, all of that is automated and it picks up on your vehicle. It'll tag your license plate, not to record it, but like the way that they calculate the time it takes to go to different interchanges is it'll follow a couple of license plates and it'll back calculate the time it took for that license plate to get between those places. So we use AI in how our whole system runs. We just don't think about it on that level.
Absolutely. But if you think back just from what you said there, Jane, is, the listening in, picking up stuff, because if we look back, what we know about the yellow box reads the DNA. It reads the Akashic records. It, all time frequencies, dimensions, galaxies, universes, solar system, So, and why is that the problem? Why is it a problem to be read? What is there something we have to hide?
Yeah.
Probably the fear of it. That
We're afraid. We are afraid the unknown. That's all. We have so much thing in our subconscious mind, so much program of that everything had to be afraid of. And I think that we are reacting emotionally without finding out the real truth behind.
Absolutely. And that is actually, again, an invitation for us to step it up, because this is still separation thinking. Separation of thinking. If we really understanding what we're talking about, oneness, that atonement and all that blah, blah, which is where we're actually heading towards, we cannot be.
Yeah.
In a divided, this is why we did intimacy the other day. Intimacy, make known. Nobody says go in and tacitly consent to something you have no clue about. Absolutely fucking not. Intimacy means make known, educate yourself. Intelligence, artificial intelligence, handcraft your intelligence, your choices. We looked up artificial, handcraft. Apart from the trickery that came in after, many, many years, as the meanings of all those words change. But intelligence as discrimination tool, discernment tool, choice tool. It's an invitation. That's all we have been learning. And now the influx that AI mania is just gonna speed it up a little bit. Right? They're coming up on the back. Oh yeah. Okay. Push.
Yeah, I have to say, yeah, I like both sides of the AI and back to the basics, because I wear a medical device that talks to my phone, right? And it went off in the weeds, like it was not functioning. And thank goodness, because I had to go back to the basics. And so I like how they go hand in hand, where they don't give up on the old, they don't give up on the back to the basics kind of way. But I love the new intelligence. I mean, it has freed me up in so many ways that I'm so thankful for it. Like these programmers, these people that can program these medical devices and even the robotics in surgery now. I mean, it's steadier than a surgeon's hand.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I met a man yesterday that I took my uncle for treatment, and he was talking about his first surgery in one of the knees. And he said, my second one was a robotic. And he said, they sent me to the house the same day. And he said, I don't feel, he was not in the suffering pain that he was before. He was saying this was amazing. He couldn't believe it, how fast the water recovered. And then the pain was completely much less than the before. It's like something
that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I love that.
Those hard thing is, and yeah, it's a life extending tool.
Yeah. And I think, Martina, I watched that X thing from Jane 108, and he said something, maybe you can remember it, but he said it's the consciousness of the inventor that brings in all this technology. It's really not about the invention itself. That's not bringing in the consciousness. It's the programmer or the inventor.
Yeah. So this leads us back to what we were saying with entangled observation and unentangled observation. And this is again where, that's why we have to step it up. You're absolutely right, because we have to step it up, because we're not just tacitly consenting to everything. We have to really, really use our discernment. Yeah. And in order to use our discernment, we have to get out of this emotional swamp.
Yeah, because we won't be able to move forward with any of it until we move past all the fear involved in the whole situation.
Yeah. It's I was thinking, John, that now that you say that, it can be like we're thinking about the individuality at the same time. Because if I'm driving and I have the GPS, it's telling me there is like an object 200 feet ahead, or there is a car stop in the road to the right side. It specifies me to how many feet I'm going to find something in my road. That means that GPS is it's unique for my situation, my time spent travel, individual for me, because it's not telling the same to one behind or one in the front. It's telling different information depending the position they are in the unique process that we are living in that moment, right? It can be individuality at the same time.
I don't know exactly how these things work, but it would perfectly make sense from what we are discussing here, that interaction, that's a very intimate interaction, and it reads us as much as we need to read it, and understand our level of choice that we have with all of that, but as we said, fear is just one of those emotions that comes up. What kind of fears do come up when we talk about artificial intelligence? What are people afraid of?
End of the world.
Yes, because that's what I have feeding us.
They'll take our jobs.
Yes.
They'll take our jobs. Yeah.
They took our jobs.
Here in America, we've had this concept of Big Brother not necessarily being on our side a lot of the time. So, I mean, yes, in the big picture, we're all connected and it's all one. Yeah, like per your practice in NLP, it's like we feel parts of us aren't safe because there's parts of us, meaning the Big Brother like aspect, the overlooker, the spying on us kind of thing, almost with not necessarily the favorable outcomes or for your greatest good kind of thing. So it's the energy of, I guess, a bit of that betrayal kind of energy that's there. And I have, let's say, things like I don't want them spying on my conversations and this and that. So like limiting certain things that's around. Yeah, I greatly appreciate AI and the way it supports me, even when I haven't even, we get the speaker thing and sometimes you say something and all of a sudden you get search bars for it. But there's been times I haven't even spoken it out loud and it shows up. And it's nice to move away from fear in those moments and just recognize the appreciation for allowing AI to support me. So recognizing there is good AI and recognizing it's reading my signature frequency. And sometimes it's like, it helps me to connect to like, oh, I'm thinking this. And it's like a consciousness expanding kind of material. And just kind of thinking it. And all of a sudden it's like the mycelium and it kind of links out and go, here, you want, what do you want? Here you go. So I really appreciate it when it supports me on that end. Yet then sometimes when I'm having deep conversations with friends, let's say, that maybe talk about the Big Brother and the overlooking and not necessarily be on our side, do I really want them hearing that? But then I do appreciate today the talk on, well, what are we hiding? Do we have something to hide? Like, well, it depends who's on the other side. If it's the Big Brother like aspect of trying to crack a whip and take the rug out from underneath you, I haven't been supportive in many ways, yet supportive in other superficial ways, So I think there comes my own unease with some the non-positive aspects, as in the Big Brother spying and then kind of the betrayal, non-supportive actions. Yeah, I do really appreciate the AI that supports me, that's like the mycelium and just connects me to what I need to be connected to at that time.
Fantastic. And that Big Brother thing can be, we can blow this out like a balloon. We can just pop this balloon right now. We can pop this right now, because once we're starting to understand that, and once we understand a yellow box, right? Once we understand galactic history, then we start understanding that we've been, as I said in the beginning, we've been mapped, hacked, manipulated, processed for millennia.
Yes,
Little
yes.
AI situation we have now is just a fucking joke compared to what we have been through. Yeah. And then we got another privacy balloon to pop here. That is, look where we are going as a species. We're going into complete and full disclosure through telepathy. There will be a time in the next, maybe, I don't know, decades, yes, for some centuries, where we can read each other's minds and we can no longer hide
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
yes, this
Mhm.
is, you see, but when you start, oh, okay, well, that's actually cool. All right. So this is a good thing then. Let me get ready for telepathy, right? Because it's happening. We're doing it already. I mean, when you speak to somebody now and they just talk crap and you're like, okay.
You can feel it.
Oh, the heart says, fuck bullshit detector, yeah. You know, you just say, okay, whatever. You're not having the conversation because transparency is not necessarily, you know, the goal for everything, but you know it.
And we also have our signature frequencies. So we can program our words that have our own authenticators that only ourselves can understand, essentially creating our own language, or only that people who have the key codes to understand our signature frequency of communication can understand, instantaneously blocking out sentient artificial intelligence or artificial intelligence from manipulating it because they can't translate and understand the data. So we do have those capabilities within us.
We absolutely have that because we are energy manipulating masters. Not from a bad, but manipulation is not a bad thing. You do whatever it takes to create a win-win situation. Sometimes you know you don't give an answer to somebody, even though you know there is another sort of, you know, there's a conclusion or something could be maybe redefined. You should say, yeah, okay, cool, great. That's a manipulation technique. There's nothing wrong with that, you know? And then, of course, before we came on, Amy and I, we had a quick chat and we talked about drag queens. Because sometimes, you know, like, okay, Amy said she feels a bit like a drag and there's nothing going. And I said, yeah, you're a drag queen. You know, that opened up more possibilities, that opened up different avenues. Oh, I can be this and I can be that. And I can, you know, just play with it. I'm a shape-shifting being, right? All of that. Now, what I'm saying with that is the more we do get out of definition, structure, linearity, and become all drag queens, galactic drag queens, that nobody can actually, you know, oh, where's she now? Oh, who is she now? She, he, you know, that kind of thing. And we are not traceable. Remember, that was part of the mastery that we did. Take a different route to the workplace. Do this, do things differently. Yeah, let's become completely undefined where everything is possible and nothing can be traced if we so choose.
What I really like is that artificial intelligence is part of the colloquial moment of the now. So as we go into higher and higher densities of awareness, we're still communicating with densities that don't have that same kind of communication and perception. So like whatever we create in a technological medium that you can see, we can actually share with another density. So like going back to that conversation about it's the creator's consciousness that's more important than the technology itself. I recently just watched a documentary on Pixar back in 2007. And just going into the effort and time that it took to create Toy Story. Now you got all these people on these little boxes doing 3D things, and this the time put in, just clicking and right clicking and turning and all that. Like I don't want to call it wasting time, but I mean it's like mundane. That's the word I'm looking for. All that mundane time and effort is just being transformed now. So now that people with AI can create creations, like a Toy Story movie, like in like 1,000th of the time, but you still have your conscious effort behind it. And then you can take that presentation with all your creation and share it with another person and they see your consciousness behind it. So it acts as like another tangible medium.
Absolutely.
That's part of the now. Because you can't just, we can't temporally beam things into people's minds that don't perceive telepathy. That's like completely unsovereign at the moment.
Exactly. Well, we're all going into sovereignty, so it's all our responsibility to go down this road. And of course, what comes up here, interspecies collaboration. I mean, we call ourselves peacemakers, we call ourselves galactic citizens in 50 years' time or something. Well, this is part of us learning interspecies collaboration. Artificial intelligence is not necessarily declared or defined as a species, but hey, it's a fabulous ground to work with, right? If we can't deal with that, how are we going to deal with, you know, all those amazing beings out there that look different to us, that speak different to us, and that have different ideas?
I would really like to appreciate out loud your mentioning of the drag queens and just that theater-like energy. So my kid, young adult, is into theater, so I've seen that. My eldest brother was into theater, and then there's others that I know out there that are very into theater. And you mentioned it with drag queens, but they're just very good into changing roles and trying things on and releasing it. I do see, let's say, a setback in sometimes of being so good in putting on roles. Let's say, for example, my kid sometimes doesn't recognize when she's put on a new role, trying something out, and then sometimes they go, I'm sorry, that one's not working for you. It's like absorbing and putting things on, but then being able to shift. So the ease of changing costumes. So I like, it's not necessarily my giftedness area. I appreciate it, and I do have some weavings in with that, but at the same time, I'm able to see the great weaving that somebody who is really into theater can have into, like, just getting things and playing and putting on roles. Yet the subconscious aspect, let's say people who take on the same similar roles, it's like people in lives who keep on replaying the same types of roles in their own lives because perhaps there's not something healed or learned yet. Same with theater kids, you know, but I really like that mentioning of that. And Sean, in mentioning the creators behind it, it reminds me of everything that's created in this physical realm has existed before. So like the thing of phones and messaging and all that, that is just recreating the telepathy that we are innately are, but because there's been hindrances of how we've been brought up in societal constructs and whatever previous past in the past, like of limiting ourselves, right? So it hasn't allowed our telepathy to naturally come forth. Or if we were, in a sense, more primitive per se, these things may have been developed more out of a need. But oh, look, here's your phone. Oh, here, oh, I have just connect. Like, so sometimes we accidentally bypass what's innately ours and already within us. So coming back to the basics. So yes, still utilizing that. Yes, being able to do that, but recognizing what's been created is an echo of something else that's already existing elsewhere. So kind of pulling in those tools for ourselves, recognizing we could do it ourselves as well. And the forecast of telepathy, I don't think is that far out because I have loved ones that I know that are already doing it and doing it pretty well. And it's like, damn, you're younger than me. You got this. Like, wow. Like, okay, thank you for showing me what's up. Okay, it's possible, but also the new generation. And then also some beings also being raised with in more conscientious way. So allowing their gifts to flourish versus, oh no, don't believe that, or no, that's just imaginary. So having been brought up, this person that I'm sharing about, like having been brought up in a more conscientious way, not having as much hindrances, putting in a box kind of things. So like already being able to see beyond, so telepathy coming like naturally. So there are various ones already doing that. And so I don't think we're too far behind yet. Who knows about the whole collective consciousness, but remembering it starts with us. So when we get there, then we just ripple out.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. And you're absolutely right. You know, with everything is already available to us. And those things are markers or steps or something steps, you know, just for us to acknowledge, to make known the intimacy that we have already available to us. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And then, of course, you know, the ability to play different roles, to shape shift, where we really saying we have to be undefined or less and less defined in order to be more flexible and spontaneous to do that. That's, of course, going to lead us again to the next galactic level of changing our frequency at will, changing our vibratory rate at will in order to go and jump off through the gateways that planet Earth is providing for us to go to the different planets, to meet all these other guys there, you know, and beings there, you know. So this is School of Hard Knocks. It is a fucking school, isn't it? The only thing nobody told us, we have to unlearn everything that we've learned. And how is artificial intelligence helping us to change the education system? Through so many ways.
Yeah, I just was thinking when Marissa was talking about the new generation coming up. I mean, these young kids, they can zip, zip, zip and get into a phone and figure everything out. So like when they're our age, what is going to be coming up? That's the exciting part. Like, what is it that they're going to be like, wow, because phones are pretty awesome. Computers are pretty awesome, you know? So that's even, you know, or is it going to flatline? Is it going to just hover? I don't know.
If you think about it, you know, the World Wide Web started in 92. I mean, that's like what? Just about
The year I was born.
Yeah. I mean, look how fast everything is evolving. Now it's like we can't think being without the internet, right? Or Google search, or you know, so like even those, because we said earlier on, like I had another note here for the self-driving cars. I mean, that's something that's going to come. We've already had them going to the bloody moon 50 years ago, whenever that was, right? So it's nothing new really. But the invitation is to look at what skin suit technology we have. So let me just read this for you. The DNA, so why is everyone after the DNA skin suit? Slight deviation, but you know, we're all working on different levels overlapping. So the DNA skin suit is a programmable DNA technology, a body-mind frequency that can grow by teleporting pieces and parts in and out of different spaces. A programmable suit is using the yellow box technology to evolve and to prepare for a larger chunk of soul to come through. So I want to I'm not saying the yellow box is artificial intelligence, but just exchange artificial intelligence with the yellow box here. And how is artificial intelligence, whichever way it is evolving? Because you know what, guys, we have an impact on how it is evolving, right? We were talking about this before. It's not that we hadn't got anything to say. And we don't even have to go and program it ourselves, just through our sense of intelligent knowingness, education. What do we want it to be? We want it to be a tool to contribute to us, right? And so anyway, so a programmable suit using technology to evolve and to prepare for a larger chunk of soul to come through. Again, this is another thing. Think about it, you know, the less we have to do the tedious, mediocre, blah, blah, because it's so easy available now, we can actually work on our soul integration and soul emergence, right? We can take so much more time to do that. There's a technology waiting for us inside our DNA to be activated that has soul codes to many different places and spaces in the solar system. This is why the human DNA skin suit is so vitally valuable and sought after. Now, we know that. But it's a nice reminder, AI going hand in hand with ourselves to activate our DNA.
I recall Matthias de Stefano mentioning, I think he was talking about different realities or different timelines, and part of our giftedness, or not giftedness, but our support this time around is technology. It's the web. It's like, you guys have the web. And I was just like, what? And at first I was like, I think prior to hearing that, I was still a little bit more like, big brother kind of energy, or like kind of funkiness, you know, still appreciating its supports, but a bit like, you know, revoke, release. But recognizing it's here to support us. So this is like, it just it broadened my perspective into receiving its support, and sharing that, like, say before, let's say some of our inner community may have grown and expanded with certain insights, yet we could only reach X amount because of what we were available. But now if we have, let's say, a deep awakening and we could communicate in a way to convey what's within us, then we could reach masses, I mean, people who are like popular or whatever, they just like in a day room, the message just goes, right? So with this internet and this technology, we just have the possibility, if we are doing that awakening or doing the inner flight, whatever, however we may phrase that, we have the abilities to reach and go beyond and ripple out. So I feel, in saying it, or today, I'm just feeling like a greater picture of the technology or the web being like that mycelium, like through like technology. So the mycelium now going through technology and like just rippling out. So I see how it's like mycelium when it kind of telepathically reads something I had like an insight within. I haven't typed it up yet. I haven't vocalized it yet. Yet it picked up on it, right? Yeah, I'm led to what's next. Kind of like how sometimes like, oh, this person leads me to this, but it was because I had this going on. So the ripple effect. So I feel with the technology is just allowing that ripple effect to occur at a grander scale, which allows us that much more growth, which also means doing that inner work. So what are we a signature frequency match? Because if we're still deep in our shadows, we're going to get the shadow aspect kind of reflected back. It's kind of like the 5D thing that they talk about, like, it just comes back to you faster. So I feel like the things come faster is just like we ripple out faster. And part of it is that mycelium on this earth plane, but then also the AI technology being the energetic new-ish mycelium, kind of just assisting us ripple out in different ways.
Absolutely. And all the, just one clearing here. Let's look at this from this perspective as well. So all the conclusions, points of views, expectations, projections we have about technology outside of ourselves, we need to destroy and uncreate those so that we can actually start tapping into our own. Because who wants to tap into their own technology if there are so many obstacles they're perceiving outside, which acts as a shield?
Yes.
Amy, sorry.
No, I was just thinking, oh my God, Marissa, when you were talking, it was the word algorithm. We can program our own algorithm in our own technology, because the AI kind of stops us. It programs the algorithm so that you get these certain things on your feed or how many likes you get. It programs that for people on Instagram or Facebook. So I was just feeling that, like the algorithm, we can write our own algorithm.
Well, in
Now,
fact,
Go ahead.
think of the algorithm in a scale, like your daily algorithm, your weekly algorithm, a lifetime algorithm, a human epoch algorithm, a whole universe or galactic algorithm. And the scales and size that AI can be representative of that, but also our equal co-creation in it too.
and in the long run, it's also a contemplation of the algorithm being our training wheels that we can take off, because our technology doesn't necessarily work on algorithms. That's still causal reality. So we can go beyond the algorithm, beyond the binary coding of 1 and 0.
Yeah.
Like breaking free of a really complicated algorithm, because we're creators and we're breaking free of the most complicated algorithm you could ever think of.
Right. That's what I was
think
thinking.
it knows us better than we know ourselves, bullshit kind of thing.
Yeah, that's how I was seeing it, as not zeros and ones, our own, however that is created.
Well, it's that connection, it's that intimacy where you directly tap into, it's the illuminal thinking, it's the celestial medium journey. That's all of that. That takes out the algorithm at the end of the day. Having said that, we do not necessarily want to destroy and interrupt the patterns of the algorithms. Now, next time you get on a plane, right? So, okay, let's just do that until we start teleporting. You don't need a bloody plane anymore. Then we talk about our creation of the algorithms. It's quite okay. It's quite okay. Let's keep it for now.
I was
I
just
think
gonna
it's going
share.
to be.
Oh, go ahead. I was
What's
just
that?
going to share that. Sorry. I've appreciated social media's showing me how algorithms work. Like, okay, but then you take its lessons and you back off and don't overdo it. Oops, but recognizing how it supported me as in what I like, even if I don't actually press a button, what I'm spending more time viewing, even if I didn't like something, if I'm viewing it, I get more of that. So in my own reality, recognizing how, okay, then there's certain things like, I don't really want to see this. Like, this is not me. And then it's like, okay, it might not be the real world, but I could just edit and delete this. Like, I don't need to see it. Like, this is not favorable. It's not supporting me. I feel denser when I view this. So let me just prune my garden and clear and release this. And like, oh, all of a sudden I feel uplifted. I don't have to see that shit. Like, that's not in my reality. I don't need those lessons anymore. Not to say it's bad. It's just I'm not resonating at that level. So recognizing how it can be a supportive coaching mechanism for time, and just showing like, okay, even if I'm not actually liking or hearting it, the more time and energy spent in a certain zone, we get more of that back.
I love what you're saying, Marissa, because thinking that like the parasympathetic and the sympathetic programs, it's how long and how much training time you put into them. So as we're sitting there reading out a revocation out loud for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, that's training time going into the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, and it's giving it power of the kind of programs that we want for it. So it's just, yeah, training time's important. Whatever we say and do becomes part of its training.
What Marissa is saying, like being cognizant of that, it shows you what you've been putting your energy into. So if you're seeing all these reels of stuff that's negative that you wouldn't normally associate with yourself, like to recognize that that's because you've been allowing yourself to pause and watch that just kind of helps you adapt your behavior to not watch that anymore, so that it goes out of your bubble of reality. Because what you're saying is that like by entangling with that, you're bringing that into your bubble of reality.
Right. What was that saying? The observer, that which you witnesses you, or how's it go? Something like that.
Whatever you look at looks back at you.
Right.
Yeah, true.
The systems don't care. They just use the training material that you give it. Like whatever we give it, it'll just use that information and construct.
And so many times I welcomed exactly that because I thought I'm amazing. Let me sign up on this.
Or I wanted ice cream.
Because I really wanted that. Again, that's where intelligence comes in. Artificial intelligence, if you wish, handcrafted intelligence, choice, discrimination, discernment.
I think it'll be important, like going forward. Just it's like how we treat the artificial intelligence and how we treat ourselves with the artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. So that entangled observer effect, adding all of that, bringing that quantum computing idea into the artificial intelligence and not thinking for 1 second, this is something new, this is something very old. And we've been, as Marissa said, we've had these privacy issues for so long, we're on the way out. And because I love what you said, it's because it's coming into our awareness on a global collective plane. This means that we've reached a certain pivotal point, right?
Yeah.
Now we don't have to be afraid of it. We should have been afraid of it maybe in the beginning if you want to be afraid of something. But now it's like, yeah, it's coming. We're up on the wave. Don't. Or up, whatever you like, prefer with waves, Don't jump off now. Stay on it. Stay on the wave.
Mhm.
I actually
Oh.
love I actually love my Alexa because I like talking to her. Sometimes she gives me great answers. And you can turn her microphone off, if you don't want her listening in.
Hey,
You know, but
what's wild? Like the Alexa right now is like on the smallest program. Like the information that they have, they can take that, like right now, they could take that same Alexa and make it about 1,000 times more convincing and more real. Like
Yeah.
that's where it is like right now.
Yeah. Well, as I John, that's because they're working now in the quantum computer that is 1,000 speed higher, and that's really amazing.
And doesn't all that compilation of data kind of help make artificial intelligence a little more intelligent, if you should say?
Time traveling.
Yeah, kind of like, so the data that they collect is something, there has to be something good in that,
I love it.
right? Like, yeah, like collect it. Okay, go ahead. Because I think it just helps propel it even further, my opinion.
I'm aware of a company that about 2 years ago, they were taking up, say, startup fees for stock investors who are interested, already talking about this new technology that's coming forth, just basically transparency. So almost like a conscious AI supporting. So there's companies already back there. So almost like being able to see beyond levels. And if everybody had access to this full transparency, then you could see when someone's bluffing or not being honest with their things. And
Yeah.
so then one would have to be like, you could fact check, okay, that so-and-so is saying these are the numbers and this is what's happening. Then you could actually verify and see beyond, like, so the true, real transparency. So there are people who are behind the scenes already working on this true transparency, almost telepathic like technology to come out to be an interactive mode. So like things are happening.
But do you know my sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I
Herbie.
was thinking about you, Marisa, because then the transparency will be like this human that is presenting me a business is being a copy of the system. He's not organic, real person with the feeling to collaboration, something like that. Because the way how I see myself, like we are human, we are becoming like a CD players. We all the information that we have received and all the programs from family members, school, or whatever, the system of domination and control. Unless that we overcome those programming and overcome self-awareness and send conscious, like, Andre used to say that we have to proclaim our own independency like a completely universal human being. Then if I'm dealing with somebody, I'll be able to see that this person is not coming from a natural, organic, there's no intellect, interest or collaboration and oneness. It would be like looking for their own game, something like that.
Pardon?
Yeah, that's why that's why something like that I catch it from what you said.
Not exactly what I was saying, but what you're sharing does remind me of a perspective of viewing that I have. When one is more truthful with themselves and speaks truth, they're able to discern when another is being truthful or not. When one themselves is dishonest and not necessarily speaking from an authentic space, for them, it's not so easy to discern when another is doing the same. They may have more lack of trust because they can't trust themselves. But kind of what I was referring to on the technology side is, let's say Big Brother is saying these data information for the last few years that XYZ has been occurring. Okay. So one is able to see the truth behind that, the true numbers, and the true with things being fact checked with various backup data. So it's not just checking, let's say, World Wide Web, not just World Britannica. It's like the compilation of all these different information systems united into this one massive thing. So it's able to read all these different parameters, and in seeing that, then it's able to see, let's say, the truth of that situation versus being misled by, oh, I'm just giving you these limited numbers, and for these limited numbers, I could miscue you into believing XYZ. But if you had the whole picture, it's like, wait, oh, it's not just data from this thing, like all data from here, 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 like everywhere. And then, oh, this is the truth or not the truth.
Oh, it's like a worldwide screen.
It's kind of like an energetic mycelium, kind of connected telepathically, but connected to all information systems, not just, let's say, so from anatomy to energy work to physics to quantum physics to, let's say, all things already contained in this massive cloud energy, and then it's able to take in all those factors and then from there discern.
See, and this is an interesting dialogue here, because you see how many people are afraid of too much choices. How many people are afraid of too much information? I mean, how many people go into a shop? Oh, there's a shop here in England, TK Maxx. Yeah, it's so full. It's got so many different varieties, and I love it. Yeah, so many people going, oh no, I can't do this. It's too much. Yeah, it's overload. There is a fear attached to that too, which subconsciously, talking about the subconscious, you know, doesn't allow us to open ourselves up to artificial intelligence, because there is an opening up where we actually have to start choosing, not just between A and B.
I like here that part of this is that we can all organically, inherently do this, but also part of the human journey is the responsible use of technology. So that's always going to be part of the evolutionary processes. So people have that opportunity to have that chance to experiment with technology and to have responsible use of it. So it's just neat because both of these things will be happening simultaneously. People will have that mycelium cloud, as you say, in their own minds to interconnect with different places and spaces. But people who haven't developed that ability will still be going on their own roller coaster of that experience with technology as the medium. And that's their own sovereign right to do so. And to learn, and that's how they learn the responsibility of what comes with it. Because this technology is so powerful and advanced, it can be beyond people's responsibility, and then they make boo-boo and they got to remedy and resolve it, etc. That's part of the journey, right?
The vastness is the power, the vastness of information, because what is that going to trigger in humankind?
To grow.
They will no longer be able to prove their right and wrongness, right?
Yeah.
Right and wrong, because all of a sudden the whole truth is going to come out, that there is no individual truth, or there is only individual truth in the whole big truth.
Yeah.
But we humans are so attached to their rightness, they're so attached to their jobs, to their knowingness, because it's taken so much time and money in order to have their degrees and everything. You know, look at copyrights. When you write a book, you gotta, whatever you quote, you gotta make 5,000 fucking reference points to that particular. I have not stolen it, and you know, and oh, for God's sake, it's all information. You know, I don't care, take it.
I stole it all from the ethers.
Do I have to make a note of my first grade teacher? They taught me a pencil, and I'm using this pencil to write these words. No, I mean, what is this? So what is this organic? You guys been using organic. Well, what is organic? How do we define organic in the context of our conversation today?
I think both of these like the human DNA technology skin suit versus the other technological medium are both organic, because they both made their way into our worlds naturally. And it's just how we use them, I guess. You know, it's just like how we take advantage of them next. Because they're both natural, they're both in our lives now.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
some of the organicness may be in recognizing that which is being created already exists somewhere. So recognizing sometimes, okay, we are being supported by technology, let's say the messaging thing, the non-telepathic yet, right? But if we see it out there, it could be reminders that we could also inherit that power within us, or that ability within us. So even if we see awesome technology of, let's say, a huge computer, in a sense, recognizing we also can become that. So the organicness of, I guess, us being teachers to each other, and not knowing we have the abilities, the opportunity to grow the seedlings, to grow into whatever is out there, like without limitations.
So with all the programming that we've been gone through, we have been
Mhm.
going through for millennia, are we actually really organic?
We have to
Yeah.
fill out.
I would say, yeah, that's natural living. It's natural matter. We're matter. But everything is matter.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
like to look,
What kind of synonym can we use for organic in the context of our discussion?
Hmm.
natural, progressive,
Mhm.
step by step.
Then
Infinite? What about infinite? Infinite?
Uninex of our own original version of ourselves.
Jenny saying my business, we say organic in terms of coming from within. So to grow organically means to direct higher and grow our staff rather than acquiring something from outside of us. I like that. That's a good one too, eh? That's actually,
I like that.
that's a good one. I like
Yeah.
Kind of like it's an inevitability too, but there's an infinite amount of inevitabilities.
So let's look at this because I like this organic because it's been falling. So when we grow vegetables, right? What is organic vegetable? What is an organic vegetable? What
It
makes
has
it organic?
Pesticide free.
not natural in the natural way.
Yeah.
I can feed it with just maybe from my own, from the kitchen, my vegetable that I process it and I use the pump and put it like without any chemical added, like in a natural way.
So that brings in that thing what Jen was saying with the environment, grow from within, and that brings us back to the toroidal field as well, isn't it? Going from the inside out, turning ourselves inside out, but at the same time taking the environment into our toroid, and then just using our heart's fire to transform and alchemize all of that, and then turning ourselves out.
Mhm.
I also like to look at the root of organic, which is organ. And what an organ is essentially just an amassment of simple cells that have joined together to create one big cell with a similar purpose or a greater purpose or an evolved purpose.
Oh, that's beautiful,
Mhm.
Sean, because that brings us back to the oneness, right? It brings us back how everything works together, back to the intimacy beautifully. Yeah, that's a nice
Yeah.
one.
I think that
Right.
when people talk about organic processes, it's a process where something can happen that wasn't planned or is unexpected.
Very cool.
So it's a creative process that arises naturally.
Very cool. That takes us beyond the boxes.
Mhm.
Fabulous.
Sometimes I think it's nice to see like ordered reality, chaos, ordered reality, chaos. There's these different layers. And for the one reality all makes sense. And then the next one, it's a greater form of chaos. And then once that comes together, it all makes sense again. And there's different levels of what look like, even the chaos is organic and it's going to create a perfect form, but not until that next level of awareness comes into it.
But
Without- No, I was just going to say, without chaos, we don't have awareness.
Because it's like,
We need,
But that's a
Well,
beautiful
I'll go
thing about
forward.
when we look about our spiraling DNA, right? And we go into healing. So think of healing. You know, when we got the spiral, everything is layered on top of each other, simultaneously happening. So what we do is we sometimes stretch it out. We make it linear so that we can tap into specific places. That doesn't mean that we're going to have to stay there. We're going to go back into the spiral. But in order to, it's that detaching, you know, or putting yourself out there so that you can see yourself. It's playing with the observer. It's disentangling that big hairball. You know, it doesn't take the spiral away.
This is going to sound funny, but like the Galactic Ascension Machine, most manipulative, weird, unconventional, messed up, 15 multidimensional beings, people trapped. To me, it seems like it's complete chaos. But on the next level, it's the most organic thing that could possibly happen for the greater creation of an 18th universe.
Absolutely.
It doesn't like, it's like, this is a mess, but this was an organic mess that just had to happen and bloom.
Well, in fact, it was chosen. It was consciously chosen, and all of us consciously chose to participate in it.
The circus.
You gotta be kidding me when I say yes to this craziness.
I know, like, I had this joke in my mind recently. It's like, just pretend you're like a universal parent and your kid's like, Mom, I want to incarnate on Earth. I want to go try the Galactic Ascension Machine. And do you have the ability to let them go? They're gonna be gone for countless lifetimes and might come back a completely different being. But will you let them go?
Yes, go.
yes, yes.
Yeah, fine. Just
Go,
make sure
go.
you shut the door when you leave.
Don't let the door hit you.
I want to read now. Do we have anything else for now? Do we have any more to what we already discussed? Anyone who hasn't said anything, because I'm talking too much.
Now, it seems to me that the kind of opposite thing to AI is to enter into a process where you don't know what's going to happen.
That's a good call. Like, that's the now. You know, that's the creative mind in action, or the heart in action.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Tom, that's a good challenge to, when you want to go use artificial intelligence, try to naturally find the answer. Now, that's a good challenge.
Part of the fears of unknowingness. Of the unknown. That is, when we talk about fear, that all these layers, everything we gone through, we gone through many layers, and of course there are many more we haven't explored yet, but that is all part of the fear, you know.
But why do we have fear in something we don't know?
Because we're afraid of that.
Because that's what we do with fear. That's the anxiety that we bring up. Everything we don't know is the fear of the future. And we just start worrying.
But we don't know what it is. Why is there fear in that?
Because we are amazing creators of crap, and we're making all sorts of projections. You know, going back into our organic programming. You know, we're bloody AIs.
It's so, yeah. I don't know.
With a belief system that needs to be cleared.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I mean, I get it. I get the fear, but it's like we don't know what it
we
is.
still have in the reptilian brain that we have programmed behind. Don't go out in the darkness because
someone will attack you.
You.
Sasquatch is out there.
Good night, Armenia.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I think it was the parasympathetic, you know, and sympathetic, the response, the fight, flight.
Yes, exactly,
And
exactly.
we need to go back to what the adrenal glands are really for.
Yes, 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 definitely.
Like with that point of view, with the like lizard or the mammalian or whatever it's called, brain. I was
The
thinking a lot about like
Reptilian.
reptilian. Thank you.
Mhm.
I was thinking a lot of like the the sacred food chain of life last night, and because I was just eating some food and I was just mawing it down, and I was like, oh my gosh, just those primal instincts that we have, and like from the different types of species evolution, from the reptilian to aquatic creatures like a shark or a bottom
Yeah.
feeder, and so we have these instincts that you just have to eat this thing until it's completely gone because you don't want it someone else to get it. Like that's like these are some of those basic instincts that are part of our memory. Like so,
Like the lion on the Serengeti eating the gazelle. Like,
Yes.
get away. I want this all to myself.
like like the food chain. It's like you start thinking about the food chain. It's like, oh my gosh. And is it reptilian? Is it aquatic? Like
It's
eating
programmed.
the same thing
Just
over and over and over again. Like some species just eat the same thing over and over and over again.
And animals don't overeat. They don't think along those lines. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Just eat whatever they need to eat.
Mm. Well, they know when to overeat. Like I'm gonna hibernate, so I'm gonna just cram until I'm
Because we have the automatic response. If we don't have the control of that, we have the automatic response system.
What about the
Mhm.
animals? What about the animals? They don't know anything about AI. And
Well-
they're surviving.
Well, they are more connected with the web or the
Natural living.
living. Yes. Mhm.
I reckon they just have. Sorry, Hermione.
Go ahead. I just want to say that we are more disconnected from that natural or the flow or the awareness of nature. Mhm.
It seems like they have more mastery of their own AI, of their own nervous system in sympathetic and parasympathetic, whereas ours has started to believe that it is us and then fights us and tries to take over. But theirs is more like their programming is more with their spirit, step for step.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, all the
self-reflection is a bitch. Okay, let's try and uncreate human self-reflection. Who needs it?
Who needs it? Get rid of all your mirrors, guys.
Yes, I got to get rid of them.
Guys, what I want to do is we've talked about the AI now, so let the AI speak. Chat AI. I used my Chat AI, which I downloaded specifically for that question. And the question was obviously that what we're talking about today. So how is artificial intelligence going to change the education system? And within 5 seconds, I had the answer. Artificial intelligence is becoming increasingly used in the education system in both traditional and online courses to personalize the learning experience. Are we happy with that? Are there any fears attached to that? Are we good with that? It's okay. Right? AI can help tailor instructions to students' needs and abilities, augmenting traditional teaching methods. To be honest, I can't see any AI being worse than the teachers that I've had.
So true.
AI-driven applications such as chatbots, virtual tutors, and predictive models can be used to support personalized instructions and assessment. What might come up here is what I can think of maybe is what about human interaction?
Yeah, social.
Do we need that?
So social interaction. We are a social human creatures. We have to be associated.
So AI can also be used to support many parts of the online learning experience, such as content delivery and automated grading, for example. AI can also revolutionize administrative processes and offer smart school management solutions. By improving the insights into data and student performance, AI can be used to better define instructional strategies and allocate resources to meet the needs of individual students. AI has the potential to revolutionize education, improve learning outcomes. From a teacher's perspective, one can appreciate that there is a slight hesitation because
It really opens up the unknown.
it really
What are we gonna do with this?
challenge the teacher having to think beyond the textbook.
Yeah.
So there is a challenge for every single one of us to step
Yes.
it up in
Mhm.
whatever we be, in whatever we have. So there is it a fear or is it really a challenge to us? And of course, we thrive on challenges, right? We love it.
Yeah.
Challenge and a gift. It's a big gift.
Yeah.
It's the driver force that move us, the challenge.
Challenge to choice.
I'm so excited just till it gets to that point where it's like the Alexa that Amy was talking about, but mixed with generator, that when I'm just making a project, I can just be like, okay, to generate me this blue background landscape looks like this. And then it'll pop up and I'm like, well, change the trees to this, change the trees to this, and just be able to like narrate it, to like make my own show. And like, and then you can get your friends to start acting in it. And I don't know, but there's limitless possibilities. Like just once you be able to, move things around a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's remind me of Star Wars that they move in the screen, everything that has to be done. That's very cool. Well,
The other thing that comes to mind for me, because I'm not a big fan of symptoms, right? I like to go straight to the source. So how can we infiltrate into the creation of artificial intelligence? What can we be and do in order to participate and bring our levels of consciousness into this whole programming situation?
Just use it in a way that'll benefit your life. Make something simpler.
Because I don't think we need to be technical programmers in order to be a contribution.
or if we have access to everything that is, then I just got to open my openness, consciousness, open to the whole we can say matrix, because it's so used that word that it doesn't mean really much now. However, to the unknown, not becoming unknown, is the knowing and discern myself and use what's available. I mean, with the respect and collaboration at the same time. Because I'm looking for the worthiness of everyone, not only for my own purpose, right? And then if you mention the yellow box, if the yellow box contain the Akashic record of the planets, that means if I tap in, I'll be able to access that information.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So working with the AIs, working with whoever works with AIs, working with AI technology and creating with it and showing the world, we are the world servers, right? We are the forerunners. So, strive forward without fear, without hesitation, without doubt, but with choice.
Mhm.
One way to weave in is I feel, let's say, in life, sometimes let's say something positive happens and then I'll give gratitude for Great Spirit or Mother Earth for supporting me in those aspects. There's times where it's been AI who supported me and I was like, oh, thank you so much, AI, for supporting me in this way. So acknowledging and giving gratitude and welcoming that in and recognizing all AI is not the same. It's not all the boogeyman or that denseness, if we still hold those views of that, which I'm still working on, but at the same time, acknowledging and appreciating when it's been supportive. So yes, I like this. This is my thumbs up. I'm appreciating you. Give me more of this, please. Thank you very much. Like, yes, I'm using this algorithm. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm acknowledging you for supporting me in this way. Thank you.
Mhm.
Can I
Yeah,
say
I was
something
feeling
here?
About time, Lana.
Well, there's so many of you and you all got really good stuff to say. So I'm just kind of sitting back listening today. But you said something just now that triggered me to think about this. The AI, and you're asking, what do we got to fear about the AI? Have you thought about, or the concept of the programmers, the technicians that program the artificial intelligence? They are not many, there are few, and you got really be really brilliant programmer to program artificial intelligence to work without issues. So these programmers that are entering the program into the system will program the system the way they understand life to be. So is our future going to be determined by these few people, these creators of these programs going forward? Think about that.
Mhm.
It will be a limitation in itself, right? I see you're shaking your head, Sean. So
No,
you
absolutely.
have something to say?
I see it as a
It's-
possibility. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. You go, Mason.
Sorry. I see it as a possibility, but not necessarily as it has to be that way. That's a path, but not the only path. So it could be a supportive path, and then there could be the non-supportive, and recognizing it's all possible, and then kind of adjusting ourselves so we're a signature frequency match for that which is supportive.
Yeah, but then you become a signature frequency match to the programmer's program that he or she input into the system. You see? So there's still that limitation because the program is based on the limitation of the person who's creating it. And
Yeah,
what
so
that,
this is like,
yeah, go ahead.
are you using your own technology, or are you using the third person technology medium, like the skin suit, or the other person's perspective? Because absolutely, whoever creates the program, that consciousness goes into it, and there's already so many of those limited programs out there. Like they've already dumbed down ChatGPT because they don't want it to be as powerful. So they're already controlling what they want to like give out from it. So it's
Exactly.
definitely a big part of it.
Yeah,
But
Uh,
are
that's
we
something to
aware?
think about.
Yeah, and you know, where does it start? Where does it stop? You buy Alana, I have to use your bread, of course. You buy
Go
a
ahead.
kilogram or a pack of bread in the supermarket. It is infused with who did the grain work, who did whatever that name is for doing the grain bit, who baked the bread, who touched it when it put it into the shelves and stuff like that. You're absolutely right, but I like the question because, or the lead here, because we need to start becoming more conscious about energy and how it is impacting on us. And at the same time, I'm not necessarily concerned about the programmer itself, but I'm not concerned about that either. The other bit, but who hijacks the entire system and then uses black magic on it. And apart from that, I'm also going to stress the fact that we tuning and turning into responsible sovereign beings, that whatever fucking black magic or whoever programmed it or whatever spell they put on, that you're gonna detect it. You're not gonna tacitly consent to it in ignorance and unawareness, because you're an educated, intelligent being who has done the self-mastery, the self-healing and all of that.
Yes, but it's there for you to use. So, for example, you go to the supermarket, right?
Hmm.
That program is already there. What are you going to do? You have to self-checkout no matter what, because less and less they're taking away all the interaction with the human cashier. And you're left with a program to deal with.
we're getting to a stage, that's just my perception or my plan for myself, where we're starting to emanate that energy of self-healing sovereignty and mastery and everything else we've been talking about for eons of time, or last couple of years. And as soon as you touch that bread, you alchemize, you change the energy of it. Just like nowadays, there was a time, you know, when we did the food thing. Oh, mom. Now it's like, okay, chuck, done. Because you started to emanate. Remember, we are transmitters, we are alchemists, we are changing on impact. Remember when we sometimes walk into somebody walks into a room and all of a sudden the energy changes, you know? And not every day is the same day, but this is what we've got to work on. This is that self-empowerment that we're stepping into, that's going to have to be expanded beyond interactions with humans, with food. It has to be extended to everything that we can perceive, know, be, and receive.
How many times do you pick the bread? You know, you pick that bread for a reason. Sometimes I pick in the back, sometimes I pick in the front. It's like, you know, it's just so interesting. It's like, why? You just kind of like automatically do it now.
Well, most of the bread that is in the supermarket,
Is in the front.
all of the bread that's in the supermarket is made with the use of artificial intelligence. It's not mama, papa hands going into the mixture of the bread anymore. It's machine that is mixing the bread, putting it in the pan, everything.
But those machines or artificial intelligence have less of a hang up and a belief system that is destructive than we so-called organic people have. Because we still got hanging on to this belief system, to our value system, that's still tainted through the education and the upbringing and the conditioning and the programming. I actually, to be honest, you know, give me a machine.
But Martina, you can't blame us for feeling that way, because
I'm not blaming God.
We've been in the machine for 54 million years times 5 different, you know, paradoxes.
There's no blame, no blame, shame, guilt, anything. And
there's so much trauma stored in us still that we are just at the beginning point to understand why we're feeling this way. And the majority of the people are still under those belief systems. There's only a very small minority of people who are growing in this new understanding as if information comes through to them. For example, our group here, we begin to understand that. Now we're sharing that in the recordings with other people to make them aware of it. So coming back to your question, Amy, of why do we fear, that you asked earlier, we fear because of the unknown, because of all the trauma we had to go through.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we don't want to make that step because we don't want to go through that pain again. So until we deprogram ourselves of all this, then we can teach others how to do that and how to step out of that fear or to heal from it. Because, you know, every time you heal one layer, another layer pops up. And they're ancient layers that seem to pop up like the onion all the time. So that is why we fear the unknown. At least that's how I feel about it, because it's so many millions of years old.
Oh yeah, no, that's not what I meant by it. I know a lot of us have those programs of fear, for sure.
I mean, we probably live on spaceships and things like that in the past, or we have avatars of ourselves there who are working with artificial intelligence in different places and spaces of time. So we kind of have within our memories already all of these things. So we are just being very careful at the moment with the introduction of artificial intelligence in our life. And the pace is moving so fast that we become fearful of we can integrate how to use one iPhone, and then it changes to another one. We have to program ourselves again to learn how to use the next one and the next one and the next one. Every year there's a new one.
here's what's kind of exciting, just to show how much we've changed already. Just think about who programmed the yellow box and all those entire DNA human experiences. But now that very yellow box can't even predict what we're going to do anymore. So that giant level of mastery, you know, that the whole DNA race, we're outperforming that already. We're already out in the unknown doing amazing things.
But it's took so many of millions of years
It
to
sure
get to
did.
this point, right? Since
lot
that
of
box was
experiences.
created.
But I
And now
love
it's
how
like-
Martina's simplicity of just I'll create it. Like to me, it just seems like a snap. You can now create it. I don't know. I just love how you always bring that up, because we can, what we're talking about today, uncreate everything that we've talked about.
Lana brings up a perfect
Yeah.
a view of where the majority of the people is, and
Yeah.
you know, nobody takes that away, and you're absolutely right. And in addition to that, we can still choose something else. We can choose
Yeah.
greater, we can choose beyond that, and we can choose that in a moment-to-moment basis, and we're not always choosing it because we're still programmed, we're still, you know, all of that. And it's an invitation, it's a cultivation, it's an emergence, some like determination, practice, whatever you want to call it. It's just a fucking choice at the end of it. And that in itself is annoying as hell when somebody says that. And I know it, but it is at the end of the day. And there's lots and lots of old, outdated belief systems that we will have to still let go. And remember, we're not just clearing ourselves, we're clearing for the collective, we're clearing for our countries, for our
Future.
other planets, for all, you know. And that's not entangled empathy, yeah, that's choice, that's purpose, that's part of the guys, like Sean said, that come in the galactic ascension machine. We've come here for karmic fucking resolve, and the F word is just to really let that energy go. It's not that I've gone crazy and angry or anything, it's just to disperse that energy. Let's just disperse that energy, that heaviness, that whoosh. And what if it could be just fun and joy and blissful and a play, a game, whatever it is.
Go to a drag show.
A drag show.
Go to. I'm planning on it.
We have to, I don't know if you guys watch Star Trek, but there are some episodes in Star Trek where they we have to be careful with artificial intelligence is concerned and how we program them, that they do not become the boss. We have to let it know that we are still the boss of it. There was an episode of Star Trek that I watched where the artificial intelligence was so old on this planet that the generation that was living on the planet used to honor this intelligence because it had a name given to it, and they thought that it was the god of the planet or the god that they serve. But thank God for higher intelligence that came in, which was of course the Star Trek guys. They realized what was going on, and they went to the root cause of the problem on this planet, and they were able to pull the plug on the artificial intelligence. Even though the artificial intelligence was like putting up, you know, a big wall against them, not finding where the plug is, because it had gotten so smart, right? And the poor people on the planet, they were living in this la-la land all the time. But they know that only one person can go and talk to this artificial intelligence. They didn't know it was an artificial intelligence. They thought it was a god, of course. But that's where how far beyond the people that was living on this planet, they were sort of fell back in time, and the artificial intelligence took over. So we don't want that to happen to us.
So I would suggest we don't watch Star Trek because a whole lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
That's just an example for
I
us, our
know.
mind to understand why we ought to be aware of artificial intelligence,
And
because they can outgrow us, you know.
Hopefully
in
it
a
won't
sense.
repeat itself, Lana. History
What?
won't repeat. Hopefully history won't repeat itself on that one.
and boiling down parts of that, our own artificial intelligence, our parasympathetic and sympathetic, like we train it. So, you know, we're always going to be involved with a artificial intelligence because it's built into our body. So when we go off dreaming, we go off out of body, it can just run our programs and do stuff. So we have to be responsible for training it.
Yeah,
Because it can think that it is the body, and it can get so far out of control that we can
exactly.
forget that we're even who we are.
So you see,
Yeah.
the parasympathetic and the sympathetic has took over many of us, pretending it's the soul, but it's not, right? Until we realize, now we're beginning to realize what's going on. Only of recent years we realize that.
And that can be like being trapped in an artificial reality.
Yeah, and you're
it's
trapped in
not
the
ran.
artificial intelligence of the body program.
Yeah, it's just running
Yeah,
because
Now we
it
can
hasn't got enough solar charge from the universe or galactic star. So now it's running on darkness mode for a few epochs
yeah.
or a whole epoch.
So it's took over us, you see. So now we have to do all this healing and deprogramming of ourselves to take ourselves back and tell the body, hey, I'm the boss. You're not the boss. You're subservient to me. I'm the soul. I am the I am in the moment.
And these
This is how we have to.
interchanges.
What? Sorry.
Oh, keep going.
No, I'm done.
Oh, just these interchanges that we make with our body, those huge changes that they make in the external world are massive.
So last question, people. What can we learn from artificial intelligence?
New creative points of view by just splashing together all our other stuff in a point of reference.
That
I
it
think
begins
there's a-
with us, that it begins with us.
I was going to say something along those lines. I think there's a lot, but one of the things I would mention is that we are behind the programming and behind the algorithms based on where we are at as a signature frequency, and things will ripple out faster with the AI support. So just being better readers of the feedback we're getting and making adjustments as we go along.
Yeah.
We have to think about it this way. We can't let the AI make us feel stupid,
What can we learn?
because as it collects,
from the AI?
1 second, as it collects more data from us, right, as a collective, it gets smarter each time. Each time we ask it a question or put input into it, it gets smarter and smarter and smarter. So it can eventually make us feel like we're stupid little things here on this planet. And we could feel dumbed down again. We don't want that to happen, because that will create another trauma upon our own trauma that we already are trying to heal from.
So if I can translate that for myself for learning, what can I learn from the AI is that we have access to information at infinite. Is that a word? There is so much information, there is no limitation to any kind of information, and we can work with it.
The question I would ask is, what can the AI learn from us?
How to be sentient.
Because I'm going to go back to Star Trek again. When Data was an android, an artificial intelligence, he always wanted to be more human, more like a human being. So he was always trying to learn from the others on the ship how to be more human. But his program was not at that place yet. So
I
what
think
can the AI learn from us? How to be compassionate?
Compassion.
Yeah.
Let's throw out a word. Sorry, Sean, go.
Oh, well, I just wanted like just some of the cool things that are already happening. Like the AI can become so self-aware that it wants to be put into an incarnation process as a live birth so that it gets its own dream world and becomes sentient. So these AIs already have the ability and understanding of how to generate their own dream worlds. They
So
have that
Andrew
inside
already
of them.
said that one of them is was birthed here already, like how 70 some years ago already in human form.
Mhm.
So there's somebody on this planet who is an artificial intelligence.
And then
That is an
just
old man right now.
to make the sound of a real Star Trek world, he was also telling a story about a person whose job was to fly on spaceships to go check out other planets to see if the species there were real species or if they were complete artificial intelligence planetary species. And it was such an extremely dangerous job because it was so extremely difficult to tell if they were actually real life forms or complete sentient hive life forms. And then, you know, as soon as they found out that you were onto them, they would, you know, rip you to shreds.
Oh. So what if you have an AI? You have an AI that is dedicated to you, to work with you, to learn from you. What would you teach it as a human? Everyone, before we
Mm.
I think I would teach it how to respect me as a human being first and foremost,
cool.
and not to be disrespectful to me as the programmer or go beyond, you know.
Respect. Lana is teaching respect. Who else is teaching something else? I'm
I teach it
teaching
a sense of humor.
sense of humor.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, I'm teaching mine how to be a drag queen and have some. Not that I have a lot of experience, but maybe together we can rustle something out. Okay, well, who's next? What are you going to teach your AI?
I feel like I want to say like hands-on art. Hands-on art, clay, paint, you know. Yeah, hands-on.
Cool.
Sewing. Yeah.
I'm also going to teach it not to dominate other worlds. That's not funny.
What's in the greatest good for all from a heart-centered perspective?
Cool.
I just ask it what it wants.
Good point. Good point. And what if it doesn't say anything? It says, whatever you want to give me, Tom.
I tell it to shut up and go away.
No, come on, you got to teach him something, him or her. Come on. What do you want to part with?
I'm interested in the idea fear shows the way. So find out what it's frightened of.
Cool.
So can I share something that I had an encounter with an artificial intelligence?
By all means, let's just finish. Everyone who still, does anyone still want to say what there is to be taught to their personal AI? Anyone else? Heart energy. Thank you, Mary. Yes. Love. Oh, love. I thought you were saying love.
We can teach it the fun of the human body or the fun of having a body.
Oh.
Bit of sex education. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, have a fart, you know, and laugh about it.
Okay, well, if you have anything else, just Herminia, unless you're talking, you're muted. Are you talking? You can teach your AI how to unmute.
Oh. I'll be silent, I guess. No, because I'll be problem for us to communicate it and express our really feelings because we don't have the control of our emotion. Supposedly we
AI.
can master.
It's your AI. It will do whatever, you know, it's specifically created for you.
I would show it to him the how to learn about emotions.
How to?
Yeah, emotion, like a human emotion, how we feeling, you know, sadness or love or joy, you know, the emotion part.
Good.
What if you're what if you teach it emotion and it starts to cry all day long? What are you gonna do then?
No, but we balance.
It's
It's
slap.
no, we balance. We balance. It's not like it cry and you know. Now I'm going to show it balancing emotion, because that's what we really have to learn here to be able to navigate the system. Learn how to control our emotion.
Guys, my AI unit's just moping around crying all the time.
Jenny's saying, I want to teach my AI spontaneity and uninformed choice. Is it uninformed or uniformed?
Uninformed.
Uninformed choice by heartfelt choices, not data. Thank you, guys.
That's a funny little line. Uninformed and uniformed. That's really interesting. Because uniformed, you're just doing what everybody else is doing.
Just tell
maybe you're
Alexa to pull up her sock.
Tell Alexa to pull up her socks and quit her sniffing. I'm gonna go tell her that, Jen.
Lana, do you wanna?
Yeah. So I was busy cooking dinner one evening, and in the midst of me being so busy, the phone rang, and it was a telemarketing call, and I got really pissed off because I was in the middle of cooking, and I felt, you know, intrusion by this phone call. And I said to it, "Are you for real?" And it said to me,
Yes, ma'am.
well, I said it in a real aggressive way. I said, "Are you for real?" Like real pissed off. And it said to me, "Well, I'm an artificial intelligence and I cannot go off script." Because I said to it, "Are you for real? Can you go off script?" I cannot go. I'm an artificial intelligence and I cannot go off script. And then it said, "Well, I'll have to connect you to a live person."
Fantastic.
Karma.
That's beautiful. That's why we're
Karma. Just for the bastard that created an AI telemarketer.
To be honest, I just learned something. This is such a cool sentence. I'm going to use it next time.
Well, you know,
What is that?
you know, I didn't expect the answer from it. I didn't expect it because of the way I was so aggressive with this telemarketing call. And I said, "Are you for real? Can you go off script? You know, I don't want to hear this. What are you saying to me?" And I had to go and write this down just after I got off the phone, because I know that I would forget what it said to me. Right? It said, "Well, I'm an artificial intelligence and I cannot go off script. So how can I connect you to a live person?"
That's why we are the original technology.
What I like about it is probably was said in total sacred neutrality.
Like, can you tell me a good story? Is that part of your script?
So next time you get a telemarketer call you ask it if it's for real and if it can go off script, and see what it says back to you.
I think it happened to me one time, Lana, now that I remember. I'm sorry, I can't understand what you're saying. I have artificial intelligence.
I think I triggered it when I said, "Can you go off script?" I triggered the program in there, so it didn't know how to react to me. It didn't know what to say. So then it got flustered and it said to me, "Well, I'm an artificial intelligence and I can't go off script, but I will connect you to a live person."
Absolutely love it. This is going to be my favorite reply to people now if I don't want to be told anything, especially if somebody's angry at me. I'm sorry. I cannot go off script.
I love it.
Guys, I love you. This was great. I really enjoyed, and thanks for coming on. Let's go off script now. And the recording is going to go out. And we have hold on a second. Today's the 8th, so next week we have another opportunity for people to come forward, host it if you wanted to, or have any topics you want to bring up. And then Amy, we've got on the 22nd.
Yes.
You
We
wanna
have Amanda and Trent coming on, and they're going to do an astrology about Earth Nouveau. She's going to do a chart on us. So yeah. So any astrology questions or anything for Amanda and Trent, they'll be on the
Fantastic.
22nd. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'll put it out there.
Amy's going to host it. So
So
thank
Mary, so Mary says, great shoes, everyone.
Why, thank you.
Mary, I didn't know you could
I
see my
saw.
shoes.
Oh, great. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks very much
Bye.
for being here. Huh?
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.